Yo. What's up, people? I'm live. I just decided to go live because I was watching a bunch of content all day today, and honestly speaking, like me, I'm very passionate about the club that I support, Arsenal. So sometimes when I see things or I hear things, I'm just like, at least just do some research before you come out here and make a fool of yourself, and or say things that are not true, or base your answers or your decisions on things that don't hold any water. Um, what am I talking about? There's a there was a live stream this morning. Shout out to Judge Mo. That's my guy, my brother, my friend. I like him very much. I appreciate the guy. He's always giving me a platform. Shout out to him. There was a live stream on his show this morning that I was listening to, and a few things were said, and I was on my way to work listening in the car, and I was just like, nah, I've got to do something to address some of these things. Not because I think I'm correct or anything, but because the fact is the fact, and facts don't care about people's feelings. And there was all of this. I'm going to share the thingy that got me to do this. So let me pull this up. Hold on, quickly. Let me present. I believe I should be able to present something here and say share screen. Yep. Let me Chrome tab. There we go. And share with audio as well. So I'm gonna play this. Let me share this. All right, here it is. Let me close the chat and make this a bigger screen. I want you to hear what this Liverpool fan said on Quest, right? And then I'm just going to debunk a few things that they said, and just because it needs to be debunked. Look, banter is good. I'm okay with banter, but my thing is you can't hinge your choices on false equivalencies. You can't be like, I'm going to say this and I'm going to hold this position because of this reason, or partly because of this reason, and that reason is a non-existent reason, in the sense that the reason doesn't hold water. So let's listen to what they said, and then I'll talk about it. Listen to this.
Yeah,
you get the
Do
point,
you
right?
want to know the real reason, though, Mo? The real reason, the real reason is something people don't want to talk about, because everyone wants to always act like that's not true and that's not real. And Arsenal fans will definitely say this, but the real reason is because we all watch the league and we all know it was more than fortune that won Arsenal the league. But I'm salty if I say that, or I'm a hater if I.
Let's first address that it was fortune that won Arsenal the league. Fortuitous that we won the league. We were lucky to win the league. Basically, is what he's saying. I'll get to that, but let's continue listening.
Say that.
How is that possible?
Is that
how?
I do every Arsenal game. The referee.
Say that again. Say what you said again. I didn't hear. Is it fortune or it's?
No. It was very fortunate they won the league. It took me back to the 90s. Anybody who remembers watching football in the 90s, when we all actually know that Alex Ferguson had help winning some of his titles through refereeing decisions and bias and all.
Had help winning some of the titles through refereeing decision and bias. All right, let's take it back. Let me take it back.
That kind of stuff. I was winning. Remembers watching football in the 90s, when we all actually know that Alex Ferguson had help winning some of his titles through refereeing decisions and bias and all that kind of stuff. I watched it. I watched it live. I watched Arsenal have at least 5 games they should have had red cards in that they weren't. And there's no explanation for why those red cards weren't given. I watched countless VAR decisions go their way. 42 split decisions when Arsenal's way this season to only 13 for the second team, which was Man City. So they had over 25 split decisions more than the next team. Come on. But everyone's going to say I'm salty and I'm a hater. No, I'm just saying, I'm calling it out. If they played good football and I felt like they truly were the best team, I would say it reluctantly, because I'm honest. I watched that team play drudge football, foul, cheat, dive, time waste, do all that throughout the whole season. All right, you're champions. You're not getting no credit from me. You're not getting any credit from me.
Hold on, fair enough. So he says we cheated, we fouled, we lied, we had refereeing decisions, go our way. As though, first and foremost, let me address the PGMOL thing. PGMOL was, not consistent throughout the whole season for everybody, for every single team. He goes on to talk about us not. Which team do you know that hasn't got a red card all season or a penalty? Apparently, I know a couple of teams. Brighton didn't get a red card all season this year. I don't see you talking about that. Man City didn't get a red card all season, and they were also chasing us for the league, right? Man City conceded only one penalty against themselves. One penalty against themselves. Why didn't Arsenal concede penalties? But you have a team who in the first half of the season went 2-3 months without having teams get a shot off target against them. When you have a team that plays 26 games that they win out of their 38 and 19 of them are clean sheets, that's why we're not conceding penalties, because we're keeping clean sheets. We're defending very well. We're defending from the front. And even when people get into the box, again, there's games that I can grant you and say maybe the referee should have blown. That could have been the penalty. But we know PGMOL is not consistent with everybody. So this is not an Arsenal thing. This is the logic of somebody who says, oh, the only reason Arsenal won is because we got help from PGMOL. All right. Let's see if that's true, right? So what I did was I decided I was going to go do some research of my own and see, do some calculations, get some data out. And I went on Squawka and all these places, and I found a bunch of things. One of the things that I found, I'll show you right now, is, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull this up here. One of the things that I found is this. It's let's go back to where I'm at here. Where am I again? Oh, snap. Hold on, people. Yeah, I need to go back to still image. There we go. So I'm going to go back to I'm going to stop sharing for a little bit so I can go to full screen. Here we go. This is from Squawka, right? And this here is the table without VAR errors. So take away all the VAR errors, take away all the errors. Just say, oh, the referees got it correct, VAR got it correct. All the calls that were supposed to be given against Arsenal were given against Arsenal. The ones that were supposed to be given for were given for, because we had some that could have helped us, get more goals. And even points, but we didn't get it. We had the handball in the box. We didn't get that penalty. We had the Kai Havertz red card, which should have been given. I thought that was a blatant foul, but referees didn't call that and they didn't give it. So let's just say this is now the table according to Squawka. If everything that was supposed to have been done right was done right, Arsenal still win the league. We still win the league regardless of the VAR decisions, whether they came for us or they went against us. The ones that went for City or went for positively for City or negatively for City, and for every other team in the Premier League. In fact, the teams that were most affected by PGMOL's VAR calls, the Crystal Palaces, even for them, without all the take away everything, Crystal Palace just moves up by one step. They move up by one step with all the bad calls they made. And now I'm not saying the VAR calls are correct. No, they're wrong. I get it. But to say that that's the reason Arsenal won, and because of that, in his own words, I will never. Nobody wants your accolades or your. I just don't want you to lie. And even if you're not going to, I wouldn't call this a lie. I just don't want you to hinge your decision on something that doesn't hold water. This idea that referee calls assisted Arsenal. Now, take away all those referee calls, Arsenal still wins the league. Arsenal didn't look. This is how I look at it. We know how inconsistent PGMOL are. We saw how inconsistent they were for City. In those games, City did not take advantage and win those games. City drew those games and dropped points. In the games where they could have given us a red card and they did not give us a red card, we went ahead and won our games. We stayed in the game and won our games. So don't tell me that it's because of that we won. No, we won because we kept 19 clean sheets. This is what won us the Premier League. You might not like the way we did it. You might not like the way we looked when we did it. You might not like the way we approached the games. You might not like the aesthetics of how Arsenal played. That's a different conversation. But to sit on the internet and, or to sit on the panel and say, well, Arsenal got split decisions. You're going to split decisions for your reason. Split decisions where it's not clear and obvious. Really? Declan Rice tapping the ball, or the ball glancing off his foot, or whatever you want to call it, or kicking the ball as you guys quoted he did last season. Was that a split decision? We saw that red card given once and never again throughout the whole season, not even this season. We've seen Martinelli get 2 yellow cards back to back because he did one little thing and then ran and committed another, and he got yellow, red out. We've seen Trossard get kicked out of the game after 45 minutes when he thought the referee had blown the whistle, and even if he didn't, he booted the ball up and boom. But we've seen players this season that do it and there's no cards for them. So this idea that we were fortunate to yes, calls went for us and calls went against us. Calls went for City and calls went against City. Calls went for everybody and against everybody. Maybe not at the same volume, but that's on the PGMOL. That's not on Arsenal. Arsenal's not paying referees to do any one of these things, right? So to sit there and hinge your decision, I just think that the bias is so strong, the Arsenal hate is so strong that you can't even take time to go do just one little research and be like, hey, let me go check this out myself. Here we are. This is what Squawka pulled up, right? And not only Squawka, because then you'll be like, oh yeah, you're only using one metric. There's other metrics, right? Premier League error without VAR. Arsenal still win the league. There's other metrics. I pulled up a bunch of them, right? I mean, all these platforms are different platforms that I went to and I pulled them up from. And the thing is, all of them have Arsenal winning the league, plus or minus a point or two or three, depending on what kind of data they use to run it. Because some people might not count the handball of this or handball of that as a PGMOL error. But whatever it is, the major ones were counted, right? And with all of that being said, we still win the bloody league. So this narrative that it's the referee stuff or it's this, it's so long. It is so long. It is so boring. It is just ridiculous, right? If you want to talk football, talk football. If you want to banter, banter properly. Banter with things that hold water. Banter with things that hold water. Today I posted in a group. To me, that's banter. I'll tell you what I did. I posted in a group, which was Bukayo Saka and Kobe Mainoo on the England team together. They're standing together, and I wrote Premier League champion winner and Kobe Mainoo. Of course, that's just me bantering Man U fans. Like, hey, my boy is a Premier League champion winner, and your boy is a Kobe Mainoo. And that's all I was doing there. If you want to banter, banter properly, but all of these hinging your decision on things that don't hold water, like, saying it's because the PGMOL. The PGMOL, really? So now we've realized if you take away the entire PGMOL narrative, if you fix all of the VAR errors from last season, we still win the league. Should Bernardo Silva have been on the pitch after what he did? No, he should get a red card, but he didn't. And did they go ahead and win that game? No, they drew. So that's not our fault. It's not my fault that I finished with the highest number of points challenging City over the last 2-3 years. The most they've been ahead of me every time they beat us to the Premier League was 5 points. Even if you correct those errors, I still win the league by 3 points. So that's why I said, for me, that's just it's just a lazy argument. So yeah, sorry, I was just trying to go through that video clip again. There was another part of it. I didn't really take the time to do my homework as regards to like coming to find what parts of the video I wanted to talk about. But it's frustrating when you when you hear those things. It's like, oh, you won because VAR helped you. Yes, VAR helped everybody. VAR is on they're VAR, they're PGMOL, they're inept, they're inconsistent. They're not people who know exactly. I don't even understand how they ref the way they ref. It's confusing. But the point is, you win your games. We won 26 games. We kept 19 clean sheets. That's what won Arsenal the league. Not the PGMOL. Not these lies that you guys are peddling. I will kick back on lies. I'm okay with banter. Come at Arsenal with banter. Say champions of Europe, you'll never sing that. And then I'll say champions of England, we know who we are. I'll sing my own version back to you. Yeah, I'll take the banter, but not the lies, not the things that you could easily just go and just fact check. Like, fact check this thing yourself before you come out there and say stuff like that. That's what frustrates me. Like, as a fan, like if someone did that to your club as well, and I just knew I could fact check them, I would call them out immediately. Be like, dude, just don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. And then I was going to talk about something else that happened again. I think it was when they were talking in the stream. Like I said earlier, shout out to Judge Moore. Guys, go check out that stream. It was from this morning. The title says LFC to replace Szoboszlai, Arsenal landing Rodgers, Man United 3 new midfielders, Enzo to Real Madrid. That's the title of that video on Judge Moore's channel. Go check it out. Go watch it yourself. The Chelsea fan Quest was talking about the fact that, they beat PSG last summer. Okay, you beat them in the Club World Cup. Fair enough. I hear that. And kudos to you for beating PSG in the Club World Cup. But we're talking about this year and the Champions League. And this year and in the Champions League, you face PSG, we face PSG, we both lose to PSG. One of us loses by penalties and the other loses 8-2 on aggregate. Do you see the difference? But you conveniently just want to talk about the Club World Cup that is already done, that is finished. You don't want to talk about you don't want to play it on even ground. And even ground is we were both in the Champions League. We both played against PSG. One of us, we both lost against PSG. One of us barely lost on penalties because it is what it is, the penalties. And the other one got beat 8-2 by PSG. And you wouldn't address that aspect of it. You just wanted to address the Club World Cup. But we won them in the Club World Cup. No, yeah, kudos to you. Nobody cares about that anymore. It's done until the next 3 or 4 years when it comes around again. So it's not an annual thing. This is an annual thing that happens every year, the UCL. And you were in the UCL this year. I was in the UCL this year. We both lost to this team, but you got a battering, right? But instead of addressing that and saying, hey, this PSG team, and this is why I'm addressing it this way, that's to tell you how tough this PSG team was, right? This was a team that scored 45 goals on their way to the finals of the Champions League. This team was tearing through people. They tore through Bayern, even though Bayern scored as well. But they just went through teams. And we were able to hold them to penalties. And I remember I was on the stream where I was trying to talk about kudos to Arsenal players who have played, according to all information out there, you can Google it yourself, played way more games than the PSG players this season. And I was saying kudos to the Arsenal players because I know how tiring it can be when you play 60 plus games in the season and the people you're playing against haven't played as much, but then you're able to go toe to toe with them. And this is the best attacking team in the world. You must remember this. I'm giving them their kudos as the best team in the world. And you are coming in with all of this, that you've played as 60 games plus Arsenal players, and you can get to a penalty. I think the thing that hurts me about, or I'm disappointed at the penalty, is at least let the goalkeeper save it, just like Raya saved one of theirs. Keep it on target. When you don't keep it on target, we don't know what's ever going to happen. We just know that you're throwing the game away. So, fair enough. Congratulations to PSG, they won. But the narrative today on the stream, I was just like, nope, we're not doing this. We're not going to start things with lies. It's not going to happen. You should at least be truthful enough to address things the way they are. Look at the facts, look at the details, look at the data, and then be like, hey, this is what it is. But don't just let your bias, right? And then you see something online that somebody else posted. You don't do any you don't do any what's it called, any research of your own. You don't do any checks, any balances. You don't do anything. You don't even just fact check the information that you're about to put out there. You're talking on split decisions and talking on things that fine margins. Like City didn't get a lot of good calls on favorable calls. They did. And then there was a part where he talked about the red cards and the penalties. And I laughed and I was like, there's 3 teams this season that didn't get a red card all season. But everybody wants to harp on Arsenal's own. And again, like I say to people, look, it's not about validation. It's just about, lies are things that I will kick up against. I'm okay if you want to banter me. I don't even want your congratulations. I don't want anything from you. But just don't lie. Like, don't make things up. And all you have to do is just do a simple check to be like, hey, even without the VAR errors, this Arsenal team was going to win the league anyways, regardless. And you can hold that and just be like, hey, I'll see you next season. Then you can banter me about the Champions League. You can banter me about maybe my player, Gyökeres, being a heavy-booted player. He's heavy on the floor. You can banter me about all of that. But again, like for me, I'm bantering people. I'm putting Noni Maduike's picture in chats and I'm saying like, hey, Premier League winner. And I know that triggers some people. But that's the banter there for me, But you won't see me making up lies about Chelsea. Neither will I make up a lie about City on why they lost. The facts are the facts, and facts don't care about feelings. And that's the only thing that I was addressing. So yeah, for me, again, it's those type of things that I tend to be like, you know what? Come on, just You don't need to be a rocket scientist to just find that information. You can take the season as is, go to the Premier League website and say, or take an AI and just say, listen, run this for me. All the errors made by VAR, add and remove them correctly. And then how will the season end and how will the table be? And yes, we have this technology. It will run it. It will give you the right information and it will pull everything up, you know. So like I said, man, champions of England, we know who we are. We know who we are. We know who we are. Champions of England, we know who we are. I know they don't like it when I sing that song, but then that's the own problem. I was gonna run back my camera to full screen camera one. This thing looks dark. Let me turn my light on a little more. Let me light up a little more. Yeah, let's light up a little more. Come on, let's get 100. Yeah, 100. There we go. Yo, I need to pull up the chat though. Here. Sorry, there's a bunch of I'm still getting used to this whole doing live streams. I'm not really a live stream guy. But yeah, man, let's talk about it, man. If you have any questions you want to ask me about Arsenal, stuff that you think maybe we could talk about, shoot questions in and, you know, in the chat. Like I said, guys, go check out that Mo's video. I thought it was an interesting stream. Because again, I want to always be able to have balanced dialogue about football and teams, but people don't seem to be able to put away their bias. Like for me, I remember talking about Chelsea the other day, and I know the Chelsea fan on the stream was feeling maybe like I was being biased, and I said no, I'm talking about your system that your ownership is running. What they've showed us over time is that they want to buy young players and flip them. Now, have they changed that model? We don't know because we have to wait till this summer to see. So in the meantime, I can only hold them down based on what they've done in the past. And what they've done is the yardstick that I can measure them by. They have a salary cap and then they have bonuses. That's not a good system to be able to get in top players. No top player wants to earn 150K and then earn bonuses to prove that they're better, that they're a good player. No, most top players are not going to come to Chelsea for that type of wage structure. You have to change the wage structure. The one thing they have showed me this season that is positive is they went and got, Xabi Alonso. I think that that's a move that shows me that they want to go in the right direction as regards to the manager, right? As regards to the players, it's yet to be seen because we saw it with Enzo Maresca. As regards to the manager, as Enzo Maresca came in, he began to prove himself, went to the Club World Cup, won it, and he wanted, experienced players. He said it, he asked for it. They probably said yes at first, but then didn't give it to him, and then he left. Or they fired him, or whatever the case is. And then they decided to do the Rosinha thing, and then, eventually they decided to revert back and get a proper manager. So on the manager side, they seem to be on the right track. On the player side, we'll see what they do this summer. And so it's not me trying to diss them. These are the facts, But when you say these facts, people are like, oh yeah, you're trying to be, and I'm like, I'm saying it without being biased. I'm just saying, like, if you correct those things, your club will run better and you guys will do better. Simple, So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that when it came to the whole it's the PGMOL that won Arsenal the league. Here we have it. We've seen it now. We know that it's not true. If this is without VAR errors, Arsenal still win the league without any VAR error. And this is on multiple different platforms that ran their own, different algorithms to calculate the VAR errors and correct them. Arsenal still wins the league regardless of what anybody says. And the only reason we won the league this season, I'm going to say it again, is we won 26 games out of our 38. And we went ahead and kept 19 clean sheets out of that 26 that we won. That's the important thing. Those are the important details. Yes, we don't have the fanciest team. We don't have the fancy front line. We weren't playing free-flowing, smooth football. I don't care. We got it over the line. That's what I care about. We got it over the line. And that for me is the most important thing. World Cup matches, I might attend a couple of them in Dallas. That's what I was trying to do because Dallas is just like 3 hours away. But the tickets are insane, man. The tickets, The tickets to the World Cup are they're crazy. But like I said, it's for me. I'm just gonna see where, because I know usually what happens is when they can't get the stadium full, they kind of drop the prices of the tickets almost at last minute, and that's when I'll just be like, all right, cool, let me just go watch this particular game. I was hoping they'd be able to play something at the Q2 here in Austin, but nah, it's way too small. And if they came into this city, man, they would run this whole city down. They would run this entire play on. Yeah, fly out to Mexico, dude. That means I have to take time off my full-time job. And it's not. I'm in Texas. I could just drive. I could drive over this thing. I could drive over. Well, I'm super Eagles fan for Nigeria, but we didn't make the World Cup. So the team I'm supporting in this World Cup is Spain. I just think that they have like the best team. Spain and France are like the two. The US men's national team, I don't know what is wrong with them. I'll be honest with you. I think they have a curse. They just can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with that team. I genuinely don't know what's wrong with the team. And I think I do know it's the way like that they don't have all the elements here, but they'll get there. I think they'll get there. They've been coming up with pretty good players lately. Some of them play in the Prem, some of them play in other countries, so I think they will get eventually. And with the MLS growing and growing and growing and being able to bring in more experienced players to the MLS, even though those players are the tail end of their career, it's good for the young American football players because they get to share the same pitch with Messi and learn from that experience. And yeah, so that's the thing about it, man. They invest a lot of money in facilities here. I'll tell you this. Austin FC got launched a few years ago, not too long ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think, or 5 years ago. And they bought out the stadium or whatever it is. I don't even know what they did, but they literally built out the stadium in God knows how long, like just random, so quick. Like the Q2 stadium was started construction, finished, very, very good facility. They invest in facilities here. They do. Yeah. Look, see, high school football. Let me tell you this: high school football and college football is a big deal in America. And I'm talking the American football. So the facilities that they have, their locker rooms, the gear, the gym, all of those things are state of the art. All of them. Like they spend a lot of money on those things. A lot of money. Yeah. College basketball is on TV. In fact, the University of Texas here in Austin, UT Longhorns. I believe I'm wearing the Longhorn t-shirt underneath here. Hook 'em. Yeah, that's the Longhorn. Yeah, you see that? University Leadership Network for University of Texas here. That's the sign, Longhorn. Their stadium here is ridiculous. Their stadium is ridiculous. Yeah. And yeah, college teams are, yeah, they've got a lot of talent. I just don't know what it is with the US men's national team. There's just something like the US women's team they do good every time they go out to international tournaments, but the men's team just falls short. And maybe that's because, again, you look around the world, there's so many good teams, in so many nations. You're looking at the Netherlands on paper and you're shaking your head like this is such a good team. You're looking at, Portugal, you're looking at Argentina, Brazil, and you're like, man, so it's going to be tough for them eventually, but they'll get there. I think they'll eventually be able to compete. Oh yeah, the smallest universities. Like my wife went to Ole Miss, which is in Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss is a University of Mississippi, Oxford, I think, University of Oxford, Mississippi. Well, the school was in Oxford, Mississippi, and that town is more like a college town, and it's such a big deal. Like you have players from there actually just go straight into the NFL. Players from there, and even their high school football players, college football players that go into the MLS. So yeah, it is. Yeah, they. Krupi. What do I think about adding Krupi? I'll be honest with you. I think Krupi is a very good player. I saw him this season, but I think there's a lot of hype. I still think that what we need is to go a level higher. We have to go a level higher at this point. Krupi is young. He's 19. it'll be good to get him because he'll be there for the long haul for the future. But I think that if we got a Julian Alvarez, if we got a Rogers and then a Krupi, then I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that because then I'd, yay, Chadwick, what's up, man? Congrats. Thank you. We are the champions. Let me do my champ is here. Champ is here. Yeah. Boom. The champ is here. Knockout. Bah. The champ is here. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing that now. I know people. Yeah, I think we can go up one more level. I mean, being able to push PSG to penalties with the team that was on the pitch. I mean, I'm talking Noni Madueke was on the pitch for us. We are taking out Saka. They had taken out Dembele and all their good players too. And kudos to them because those guys also needed rest. These guys are humans. But to be able to hold off PSG until the 70th minute and concede a penalty from a mistake. Mosquera, again, I tell people he's a 21-year-old defender. He's a young defender. Those kind of bozo moments will be in there. I strongly believe that if Timber was the one on the pitch with all the experience that Timber's had this season without that injury, we see that game out at 1-0. But yeah, I know he wasn't, but again, that's what I'm saying. Like a player of his caliber, it might not be Julian Alvarez directly, but a player of Julian Alvarez's caliber would be nice to get. I think that's the kind of person that we can go for because again, that would what's the word? That would up the level a bit, just because Calafri wanted. Hey, Don Hussam, my man, how you doing, brother? Is that still live? I'm still live. Yeah, Calafri wanted by Real Madrid is big. Look, this is where we wanted to be as Arsenal. These are the conversations we wanted to be in. We wanted to be in conversations where people are talking about our players and wanting our players. When was the last time any big club looked at us and said, "Oh, we want your player"? We needed to get rid of a lot of our players back in the day because we needed the money. I mean, I was listening to a show that Wenger did, a speech that Wenger gave at an event, and he was talking about. He said his worst years at Arsenal, right? He says not in a bad way, but financial way was when we're making about 90 million a year. And we had to pay almost 25 million or 22 million or something to the banks for the loan that we took for the Emirates Stadium. And then we had bloated salaries, for players. And these players were not even getting us into Champions League. So we weren't getting Champions League money. And we had to find money for somehow to pay off all that loan, pay salaries to these players. He said it was he says there were periods where he did not sleep for months. And I was laughing and I was like, that's crazy. But again, these are things that we don't know as fans and we don't really care. We just want a win. But now we're in a good place. I mean, just all the reports I'm seeing about Arsenal's finances this season is that we're going to be in a very, very, very solid place at the end of the season. I mean, we're just for getting to the Champions League final. I think we're making close to 200 million or something euros, if I'm not mistaken. And for the Premier League as well. And then all the broadcast money, and then the new deal that we just got with the sleeve. We're in the positive, which is a good place to be. So yeah, shout out Don Hussam, man. You guys, for those of you that I know a lot of you probably follow him already, but please go and tell your friends, share the video, like the video, share Don Hussam's video, like it. I'm trying to pull out mint. I feel like my throat is. Well. Again, yeah, I mean, if we end up being the richest club in the world, that's good. Now, what do we do with that money? It's what I would love to, because again, I think the ownership of Arsenal, the Cronkies, have a knack for pushing their teams to win something and then they relax and then just turn it into a money spending machine for like a few more years. Then they've come and push again a few years later to win. I hope they keep it up. What's up, DWTT? How you doing, man? I hope they keep it up. I hope they don't just, rest on their laurels and be like, oh yeah, we won the Premier League. Let's go for the Champions League next season. And if we don't win it, then we chill. No. But I think, again, like I said, with players that should come in, should be players that would raise the level. it's really hard to raise a level when you're already like if you're already so it's like if you have like a Lamine Yamal, for example, who do you bring into your club to raise the level? Nobody. You can only bring someone to try to challenge him. We don't have this quality of players, so we can actually go bring in that level. I'm not saying it's Lamine himself, but that level. We need to look for players in and around that level to come in. You know, well, yeah, to be fair, they do have a salary cap here. I fair enough. You know, I get it. I agree with you on that one. But our recruitment and attack, I'm not worried because and the reason I'm not worried is this. Mikel Arteta has to be a genius, right? He has to be a genius for winning the league with people like Noni Madueke and Martinelli on the left-hand side. And Trossard sometimes. Yeah, they were clutch. Yes, they came in clutch in certain games. They showed up in certain little one game here, but the inconsistencies were so much that you would expect us to fall off. So my thing is, if he could do it with these caliber of players, I mean, if we get people who are a little bit more consistent, who are a little bit slightly more skillful, slightly more dangerous in the attack, you know, who take a little bit more risk. And I was telling someone, a friend of mine here, that I believe that Mikel Arteta, come this season, is going to play a lot more free-flowing football. And he said he doesn't believe that. And I said, well, we'll see. I think we're going to play. I think we're going to play more free-flowing football. We'll still be very solid defensively, but now the players can play without the weight of, oh, you haven't won it. You know, that weight of, oh, but you guys haven't won it. Why should, you know, all that talk that people do? They can play without that weight anymore on their back, and they can just play the football, be free, you know, just win. And you know what? You might be right. We might need more technical players. That's a fair thing to say, but that's dependent on the style of football that the manager wants to play. If he wants to play athletic football and he wants very rugged athletic players that can run for 150 minutes and just be running teams down, and he doesn't really want technical, then fair enough. That's the style he wants to play. If that style is going to win me Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues in the future, I'm happy to back the manager, right? And if he wants to go technical, then fair enough, you know. Because again, in the middle of the pack, we do actually have one or two players that I think, because they were not up to scratch this season, a lot of us as fans are worried. But I do think that they will come correct. You know, we've got Eze, you know, we've got Eze in the middle there, who I think is a very, very good player. There's an amazing player in there. Odegaard on his good days, forget the injuries and everything. We all saw how Odegaard was when he first came. If we can get him back to that level, you know, get one or two other ball carriers is what I think we need. I think we need I personally think we need ball carriers in the midfield. Declan Rice is the only person who I think, and then Miles Lewis-Skelly in more recent times, who would carry the ball from the back and actually run through that midfield. I think we need more ball carriers so Declan can sit back behind that back four and we can still just be solid defensively. And someone like Rodgers, you know, is a good ball carrier. I like him. And he already has the Premier League experience. So yeah, he has Premier League experience. He's a good player. He's got Champions League experience as well with Villa. So I think he's the kind of player that would come in and be able to do a job, you know, because that's what we need now. We just need our players to be able to do a job, which is get in there, win, look good. And then I always tell myself at the beginning of the season that we're not going to win 38 games. We're going to lose some games. We're going to draw some games. And I always tell myself, it is how I lose those games and what I do after I lose those games that will piss me off. That's when I will get mad at the team if they don't do the right thing. So if you lose a game by not you didn't give 100 on the pitch, you just went in there like a decimal and you got run over, I'll be mad at the team. But if I watch the game and I see that you gave 100, you struck the bar 7 times, their goalkeeper was doing the madness and saving like 4 shots. Somebody on their team fouled, carried the ball with his hand in the box. The referee did not give a penalty. VAR did not overturn it. and that game ends 0-0 and you drop 2 points, I'll be mad at the fact that we didn't win, but I won't be mad at the boys for giving their all. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, that the difference between how I kind of analyze how my team is and what happens with them. Now, if you went in there, you did not give your all, I'm about to shit on you. Every single player. So yeah, most improvement I think we need is on the left wing. On the left wing, and I think that a lot of Arsenal fans grew up on Wenger. That's why I was watching from back in the day before Wenger, and we were a boring team. It was boring Arsenal. I won't lie to you. We're a boring team. We used to score 1-0 and just move on. That's who we were. So Wenger is the one who came and changed our DNA. Now that Wenger has gone, I think we're reverting back to our old DNA of who we were. And it's fair enough, you know. Hey, Don Hussam, thanks. Hey, thank you, Don. Appreciate you, man, Hussam. Thank you for the redirect. Yeah, well, the April stretch is always hard. You got to remember that there's about 4, if I'm not, I need to pull it up as well, but I saw that data a few weeks ago. 4 to 5 Arsenal players have played over 4,000 minutes, right? That in itself is about 45 games, full 90 minutes, 45 games. Zubimendi being one of them. Hey, Hussam Bray, shout out to Hussam. Shout out Don Hussam. Thanks for the raid, man. Yeah. Big up Hussam. I appreciate you, man. Hey, look, if we finish second next season and we go on to win the Premier League, go on to win the Champions League, I'll take it. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. I'm not one of those people who is, you know, you expect your team to carry on winning now. Like now that you've had a taste of it, whenever you're at the top, the best thing to do is to reinforce. And I think we're going to reinforce, you know. Gabriel went for a corner instead of a penalty. Look, hey, I have to give my boys kudos, right? They went up against PSG, the best team in the world. They went up against Luis Enrique, who is a top-notch manager, probably the best, one of the best right now, in-form managers and across anything in his career. The guy has done amazingly well, and we pushed them to penalties. So yeah, man. So yeah, I gotta say, that's the man. I wish we had won it, man, because it would have shot a lot of people up. But it is what it is. We go again. In the words of Declan Rice, it's not over. What winger would I have wanted? Left winger. Honestly, if not for his injury this season and that he's not played all season from Real Madrid, would have been Rodrigo. That's who I've really wanted all this while. Because again, Real Madrid are playing without him now. So when he comes back, I just don't know if he's going to be the same player that he was. I think Rodrigo would have been the guy that I would have gone for. If I don't get Rodrigo, there's this guy that I saw recently. I saw people talked about him during the season. He plays for Ajax, Mika Götze. That dude is fire, but I don't know if he's going to translate immediately if he comes to the Premier League. But I was a name like Rodrigo because of what he had done in the past, if not because of his injury this season, where people have forgotten that Rodrigo exists. That would have been a scary name to bring to the Emirates at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the person I would have wanted. Oh yeah, smash the like button, people. Appreciate you guys. If you got any questions, throw it in the chat. Let's talk about it. My baby is here. She's just move away. Yeah, not. You see your daughter. You see your daughter. She's just like you, running around the house in diaper and just making noise. Bap. Yo, what's up, man? That's all I'm saying. Like, if there's any, for me, Rodrigo would have been the guy that I would have wanted. Well, at the time, because he was on fire. Now that he's injured, I don't know what he's going to be like when he gets back. But yeah, that's Rafael Leao. I rate him, but I every time I've watched Rafael Leao play, he doesn't help track back. And I think that's the DNA of Arsenal now. We're a team that knows how to defend. We're not a defensive team. I think people don't know the difference between a defensive team and a team that knows how to defend. We're a team like, this is how I know that we're a team that knows how to defend. You would hear someone like Saliba when he was watching the Bournemouth game versus City, and there were a few more minutes, you hear him yell 4-4-2 boys, 4-4-2 boys. That's a defensive thing that Arsenal does. 2 players in front to help with the press, 4, and then 2 lines of 4 bank players, right? and was so good off the ball that's our DNA. Rafael Leal, I don't see him actually tracking back to do all that work. That's the issue I have with him. Now, can he learn to do it? Yes. Will he be able to do it in the first 10 games? I don't know. And that's my fear. Like, we're going to be defending the Premier League, and we can't afford to have 10 games where players are just trying to figure it out. You know, and that's, you know, because again, I've got to say that there's certain things that I look at this season, right? When people talk about Arsenal and how we are and you know, like winning the league and all that. I was talking on the stream and I said to someone, I said, do you realize that there were times where we had 6 new players on the pitch this season that were not there last season? There were times on the pitch where we played Zubimendi, Mosquera, Hincapié in the same game. You had Eze, you had Noni Madueke when in the same game when Bukayo Saka was injured, and then you had Gyökeres. 6 new players. And then when we drop points in those games, nobody puts any context around it, like, oh, these players are also trying to blend and gel. But when it's the Liverpool, they say, oh, give Florian Wirtz time. When it's Shirky and Reinders, they say, oh, Pep is working on a transitional team. We had 6 players out of 11 sometimes. How is that not a transition for us too? And we still went on to win the Premier League. So I don't want no excuses from people when they say, oh, these people are going through transition or this person is, no, I think it's unfair, you know. Yeah, Rodrigo is on fire, man. And my prayer is that he comes back from injury and he goes back to the Rodrigo that we know. That's the guy that I want. I'll be honest with you. Like, that's who I would pay Real Madrid anything to take him away, because I think that he's an upgrade on our left wing. For someone who's also been to the Champions League, won it, you know, I think that's I rate Leal as well. I rate Leal. I'm not saying I don't rate him. But yeah, I still just think that Rodrigo is a better player than Rafael Leal. I mean, everybody who was mocking Noni Madueke now, he's a Premier League winner. So is Win the Dog. Mbappe to Tottenham. Chadwick, stop this. Let's not do this. Mbappe doesn't want to come and fight relegation. Trust me. Mbappe doesn't want to come out. Yeah, he doesn't want to come and fight relegation at all. I'm telling you, man. So yeah, for me, it's like majorly, the most important thing right now for Arsenal to do is go get the right people in the key places. The key places are the left wing. We need that. We need the left wing sorted. Look, I would sell Martinelli and Trossard and get 2 new people. Because again, what I've realized is this season, I've seen the manager work with 4, 5, 6 new players on the pitch and win games with them. So I believe you can bring in 2 extra new players and still, you know, figure out how to win a game with them. I think that's what I would do. The left wing is the most important aspect. Then right back, there's rumors about Ben White. I don't know, but for now, I would hope we can keep Ben White and keep Timber. I would hope we can keep Calafiori and Hincapié. Mosquera as well, and I'd get one more defender because I'll move Miles Lewis-Skelly into the midfield. I've seen what he's done the last few games of the season. That's where he's most comfortable. He's learning the ropes better. He played in the Champions League final. He held his own. I think that's where I would move Skelly up into the midfield and get one more new defender. And again, remember, Mikel Merino is back. Miles Lewis-Skelly is there. We're going to have Eze back. We have Eze. We have hopefully Odegaard injury-free, because an injury-free Odegaard, it can only get better. That's the truth, you know. But yeah, all the hate, man, all the hate that they gave that captain, and he got us over the line as well, you know. And that's important. So for me, the left wing, I would get rid of both of them and bring in somebody else. Then I'd get a striker as well. I'd get in another striker, because Gabriel Jesus to be leaving. I would use Kai Havertz as a rotational player between striking and midfield, because you could see when he and Gyökeres played together, they played well together, you know. So I would have him as an option, but I'll get another striker, which would be like, you know, Julian Alvarez is who I would want, but I don't know if we're going to get him. Yeah, we have a wage structure at the Arsenal club. Our wage structure is kind of based on who your agent is and how good your agents can negotiate to. That's Arsenal's wage structure, because we have some players in Arsenal who are on like 90. I think Trossard was on like 90K, and then last season, he signed a new deal. He didn't extend his contract, but he signed a new wage deal, and his wages got increased. So I think it's how good your agent can negotiate with Arsenal because, yeah. And I like what we're doing. We're keeping our better players and we're moving the others on and just trying to, reinforce again. And I'm glad that we have a sport director that knows what he's doing, experienced in the industry, respected in the industry. He can walk into clubs and get players out, and that's it. Very, very important. Yeah. I think again this season with all I always try to put context around things and not just crash on the players, because I think that we're now in a space on the internet where Arsenal lose the game, fans just want to crash on them. People don't seem to realize that this season we had the second most injuries. Now, no excuses. We won the league with the second most injuries, and believe it or not, Tottenham had the first most injuries, and they were battling relegation. They had 4 or 5 injuries more than us. We had 32 injuries across this season, across the whole team. That's a lot of injuries to have, and hence why you had a lot of the new players all playing together, and nobody gave context to that. Nobody said, "Oh, Mikel Arteta has 5 new players on the pitch." It was like, "Oh yeah, if you guys don't win this game, you're butlers." I'm like, no, we've got to have a footballing conversation. Yeah. So again, I hear you on the context for Dembele, for Kvaratskhelia, and all these guys. Yes, Dembele played with a knock. Kvaratskhelia got them the penalty eventually to do it. But what I'm saying is, I think a lot of that as well is because of how Arsenal set up defensively. We were defensively resolute to the point where it frustrated them. Mosquera did a job on Kvaratskhelia up until that penalty. And if they didn't get that penalty, it looked really hard like they were going to score. It hardly looked like they were going to make an impact. Yes, sometimes they peel through. Look at even when Barcola came and he got in behind Saliba a couple of times, he could not finish it. He should finish those shots. PSG would have won that easily. It would have been 2-1, game over. But again, it's the defensive structure of Arsenal that I was, So yeah, I'm not the same way they took out some of their best players. And they had some other guys on the pitch who saw the game into the penalties. It's the same way we took off some of our best players, and even our best players were not performing. Saka wasn't performing by the time we took him out, So and then Odegaard and Eze, like for like, Odegaard had 12 touches in 60 minutes. Eze had 12 touches in 60 minutes. So for me, you can't have 2 creative players. Eze had 10 touches, in 60 minutes. You can't have 2 creative players have similar number of touches on the ball, and they're your most creative players. That tells me it was the system that Arteta put in place. And that system should have changed after that penalty was scored by Dembele. But we didn't change that system. And, we live and learn. This is his 3rd time in the Champions League, and he's in the final. The first time he was in quarter, second time he was in semi, third time he's in the final. And I think that's important that, he learns this bitter lesson of making it to a Champions League final. You've got to take your opportunities when you get them. So, yeah, hopefully we rectify all that in the summer. This summer, we rectified by fixing and getting some quality players in the front line, and then we go again next season, man. We go again next season. So again, there's a thing where I think that the system might change next season, and the players will play more forward-facing football, more attacking football, more free-flowing football, because now they've gotten it over the line. I think we were more afraid to lose this season than to win, which is why we're playing a lot of back passes. And fair enough, it got us over the line. Now we can change it, because if we did not win this season, it'll be very difficult for those boys to go next season. Very, very difficult. And that's what it is for me. Like, do whatever it takes to get over the line. Play however you need to play. Now that you've gotten over the line, guess what? Saka ain't worried about anybody saying, "Oh, you ain't won the Premier League now." No, now what's on? Now I don't have to do too many back passes. I don't have to be afraid. I know how defensively solid we can be as a team, so I can go ahead and just take the game by the scruff of the neck, score a goal or 2, and then join the guys in defense. I think it's going to change. I think it will change, and it could not have come at a better time when one of the greatest managers is leaving, Pep Guardiola. He's one of the greatest managers. Let's be realistic. He's leaving. That's a good thing for me, because now my manager happens to be the only manager in the Premier League with a Premier League. If you see what I did there? The only manager with a Premier League in the Premier League. Yeah. So, and with all the new and we can take advantage of this. If you're looking at the most stable clubs right now, I think we are one of the most stable clubs right now. If you're looking at stability, Arsenal happens to be one of the most stable ones, and we should take advantage of it. Everybody else is coming in with new managers. You know, Liverpool has a new manager. Yes, he's a Prem tested manager, but he's going to be working with a new club, new players, new people. That's a factor that we need to look at. Also, you know, Chelsea, Alonso, new manager. City, Maresca, new manager. Tottenham, De Zerbi, new manager. So we've got to take advantage of this now. We have to take advantage of this season and at least win again. You know, at least try very, very hard. And I think what we do this summer will determine what happens in the season. And I think we're going to do well this summer. I think we're actually going to do well this summer. Yo, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. I'm just chatting with everybody. Like, if I see your question, hey, Carrick is winning next season. We're coming for our chain. Hey, come for it, man. You know the funny thing, I like it when things like that happen because look, it just means that we now have to prove ourselves again. Come for the chain, man. You know, come for that chain. Like, just make sure you come prepared. Don't just come and be like, oh, let me be behind you by 5 points. At some point this season, Man City was 2 points behind Arsenal in January. And then they went out and they bought Gehi and they bought Semenyo. And they ended up losing the league by 7 points. And people want to talk about Arsenal and not about how Man City fell off. I'm like, we did our job. We won our last 5 games by hook, crook, or training. 1-0 here, 1-0 there. It don't matter. We won our last 5 games, you know. You know, and for me, that's where the league was won. You know, when people are then saying, oh, it's this and that, you know, and I put up this graphic earlier in my stream, right? So this graphic here, earlier in my stream, I put up this graphic where I saw a video. It was a video that I saw this morning that actually triggered me to make this video. And the guy was talking on Judge Mo's stream. Yeah, go like, subscribe, Judge Mo's stream. Yeah. And watch that video. And he was saying, oh, Arsenal was fortunate, refereeing decisions, and that's why we won the league. And I said, hold on, pause. Let me go do some research. You know, there might be some magical truth to what you're saying, but I don't think so. And I haven't done my research. I checked a bunch of places, and you know, I went to Squawka, went to a bunch of other platforms, and to see what they were saying. And this is what the table would have looked like if all the VAR errors, right, were corrected. Let's say the penalties that they should have given against Arsenal, they gave it. The ones they should have given us that they did not give us, like the Nottingham Forest one, they gave it. The same thing for City, the fouls, the penalties. If everything was rectified and done properly, we still win the league. Like, we still win the league, right? And this is my thing. It's like, it's not the referee's decision. It's not the PGMOL or VAR decisions that made us win the league. We won the league because we're marginally, it's fine margins, but we're marginally better than City. We went and won our games regardless of what the decision the referees made on the pitch was. City went and dropped points regardless of what the refereeing decisions were on the pitch, against them or for them. And that's the truth. You know, so I don't want to hear that it's that refereeing decision. And then I see David says, City are better than Arsenal, blood. We whooped you in the cup final and beat you in the league. Yeah, you beat me in the league and you whooped me in the cup final doesn't mean you're better than me. To show that you're better than me, over 38 games, you've got to win more games than me. I won 26 games out of 38 games, and I kept 19 clean sheets. You kept 15, or is it 16? 15 clean sheets. That's what you kept. You know, you lost more games than I did. You conceded more goals than I did. So if you're looking team for team, I'm a better team than you overall because I conceded less. You scored with all your attacking powers. You scored 6 goals more than I scored. You didn't score marginally 15, 10 goals, double digits. No, you scored 6 goals more than Arsenal, conceded more goals than Arsenal, lost more games than Arsenal. You drew more games than us. We kept more clean sheets than you. So overall, as a team, this season, Arsenal were marginally better. You can talk about how good City is in isolation. from last season or the season before, and because of Pep and all that. But this season, in form, the better team won the league. That's all it is. I'm not saying that we're a better team than you when it comes to individual players, and like maybe I'm trying to compare Cherki and Odegaard. No, I don't do all that nonsense. But I'm just saying that the end result tells you what it is. The team that goes into the pitch and comes out with 3 points and a clean sheet, that's the reason why we won the league. And so yeah. So when people say stuff like that, I try to address it objectively. Yes, you can come around and be the better team next season, fair enough. But in this season, this last season they just went out. You have 2 cups. I have 1. That's like me. Okay, so that's like me saying, and I know if I say this now, it's going to sound controversial, but I'm going to say it so that you can understand what I'm saying, right? David, and this is for David 838. Sorry, my boy. Sorry, my man, or my woman, or however you choose to identify. So, if you're going by volume of cups, fair enough, right? You have 2 trophies. I have 1, but I have the Premier League. You have the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and I think all trophies are important. But we all know there's a hierarchy for trophies that teams would prefer to win. First question I'll ask you: would you swap your 2 trophies for the Premier League? Would you have wished that Arsenal won the Carabao Cup for you to win the Premier League? I guarantee you'd have said yes. You would have said yes. I guarantee you, would you have swapped your 2 trophies, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, for the? You would. You would. I mean, I would. Let me speak for me. Like, if I won the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup this season, and City won the league, and someone said to me, "Would I swap those 2 for the league?" I gladly. I'd be like, "Here, take these 2, give me that one." I'll gladly do that. But again, everybody celebrate what it is that you won. And if we're going to do the whole number of trophies that you've won overall, I still have way more trophies than you. You might have other trophies that I don't have. You might have like the Champions League and Club World Cup and Super Cup and all that. Fair enough. I give you kudos for doing that. But overall number of trophies, I still have more than you do. Yeah. This thing that you're saying, right? I think I triggered someone recently when I said Pep has 20 trophies in 10 years, right? We can all agree that Pep has 20 trophies in 10 years. So the table as it stands with VAR errors would be this. Let me pull this up. Hold on real quick. Let me pull the Premier League table. I'm going to go camera 1. Let me switch here, and then I need to do this instead. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Let me share screen. Who do I want to share window? Yeah. So here, this is the table. Sorry, excuse me, I'm coughing. I have it's not very, very clear. This one is not very clear. I'm going to have to do something and make it a what's it called? A still image and then zoom in. But the final table as is, if you look at the 5 games here, we won all our 5 games. We won all our games here. We didn't mess around with the games and the opportunities that we had. And it was on City. They messed up on their own games, So yeah, before I was saying something earlier when I said I triggered somebody when I said Pep had 20 trophies and in 10 years, 20 trophies in 10 years. Beautiful, amazing record to have. I don't think any manager will be able to pull that off again. But in those 20 trophies are 3 Community Shields, 3 FA Cups, and I think 2 Carabao Cups. And the way people diss these cups, the way people insult them and say they're not good cups, they're not there. So are we saying we should take them away from what Pep has done and say Pep only has 13 in 10 and reduce what the accolades that this man has put, the work that he's put in? I think is disrespectful to say that. So I respect what he's done, 20 trophies. And if I'm going to be counting that for him, I'm going to be counting it for every other manager too, which means I can say that Mikel Arteta has won a Premier League, a FA Cup, and 2 Community Shields. So Mikel Arteta has won 4 trophies in 6 years, according to the way people are judging it. This is going to trigger. There are some Arsenal fans now that are just triggered by me saying Mikel Arteta has won 4 trophies. Now that he has won a major trophy, we can count the minor ones like we did for Pep, like we did for other managers in the past. When they win the major, we then start counting all their minors. So now we can count the minors. So Arteta has won 4 trophies in 6 years. He's averaging 1 point something trophies a year, give or take, because he won one in 2019, the FA Cup. He won in 2023. He won in 2020, 21 and 23. You may not like them. You may not rate them. But if I'm going to count it for one manager and say, hey, kudos to you, well done for doing 20 trophies in 10 years, I'm going to count his 4 trophies in 6 years. Sorry. It's the same level that I'm putting everybody on. I'm giving everybody the same level of respect. Kudos to Pep Guardiola, probably the greatest manager of our time that we'll ever see. I don't think even Arteta or any other manager in this league will ever do 10 years and do 20 trophies. I don't see it happening. It's not possible. That is, you are averaging 2 trophies a year. That's insane. Out of 4 tournaments available. Like, that is some insane thing that man did. He's a genius. Kudos to him. Any other manager coming behind him, I'm going to count the same level of, the way I'm counting it for him is how I'm going to count it for them. Because it has to be even playing field. So that at the end of the day, we can say Arteta spent 10 years and only could do 10 trophies or 5 trophies or 6. And Pep did 10 years and was able to do 20. We can still but I'm counting it now based off what it is. So yeah. I know that's going to trigger a lot of Arsenal fans, especially the ones that want Arteta out. They're going to be like, what nonsense is he saying? But hey, these are the same guys when they're talking, you hear them say real quick, Pep has 20 trophies in 10 years. Okay. Then that means Arteta has 4 in 6 years. That's all it is. It's not I'm going to cut my hair. I need to cut my hair. I need to get to a point where I cut my hair, honestly. And get more sleep. My eyes are, there's bags in my eye. Hold on. Arteta and Mbappe. Hey, look, all of you asking for Mbappe, don't wish for. Look, you guys, you want to bring Ninja Turtle to Arsenal. I respect Mbappe, but Mbappe and Arsenal, with the culture of Arsenal, is Mbappe and Josh Kroenke that'll be fighting in the middle of the pitch with Andrea Berta trying to separate them. I don't want to see that, though. I don't want to see that. I honestly don't want to see that. I'm telling you, like, if Mbappe was, if his temperament and his character, like everywhere he's been, if it was different, yes, I think he's arguably one of the best players in the world, But yeah, no, I don't want him on Arsenal, man. I don't want him on Arsenal. Well, so here's the thing, David. The way Arsenal played this season, did it worry me? Yes, as a fan, I wanted to see good football. But when the results were play ugly, win, play ugly, win, play ugly, win, I was like, okay, just get over the line first. For me, I think the way we played this season, again, I said it earlier. I don't know if you heard me in the stream when I said the way we played not to lose games because we wanted to just get it over the line. We realized all we had to do was not lose the game and find a way to score and then lean on our strength, which was defense, and that's it. And that's how we play. But I think we change how we play next season. And the reason I say I think we change how we play next season is we've seen Mikel Arteta 22-23 season play free-flowing football. I mean, by December of that year, we had scored 50 goals. We were running through teams. And then we did the same thing in the 23-24 season. 2023-2024 season, between January and May, we played 16 games. We won 14, drew 1, and lost 1. I think that's where we lost by 2 points to City. It was a 2-point margin to win the Premier League. We pushed it till the last day. And then last season, again, for as bad as we were, and as good as Liverpool were, regardless of whether people like it or not, that's the truth. Them running away with the league and giving us a 10-point gap. They gave City a 12-point gap. We were still 2 points ahead of City last season, which means 2 seasons back to back. One season we were 2 points behind them. The next season they were 2 points behind us, and then this season they were 7 points behind us by the end of the season. They've never beat Arsenal more than 5 points whenever they won the league on us. So I think we change how we play, because I've seen us change year in, year out. 22, 23, we change. 23, 24, we changed. Last season, we were more pragmatic. I think we wanted to play the way we played this season, how we wanted to play last season. But with all the very many injuries we had, we couldn't play it. And with how good Liverpool was, because people don't realize how good Mohamed Salah was in that season. I'm talking, this guy was on fire. This is not glazed. This is football. Let's not remove our bias and remove our, fandom hat. Salah at the point was responsible for 75% of Liverpool's goals. That's insane. That's match statistics there. Like that, as a player, he was unplayable that season. And there's nothing you can do about seasons like that. You can only just cry and be upset with your team for not just being closer, But then come this season, we did what we needed to do and we got over the line. So yeah, I think we can change how we play. Not concentrate on academy too. Skelly, Diamond, in one area, etc. Well, yeah. So again, one of the things that you realize is with the academy, right? Especially like Arsenal, when you bring out so many good players at the same time, it becomes difficult. You don't want to have 16, 17-year-olds as all your bench players just because they're from the academy and they're good. I remember, again, as a club that is right now being very profitable, when you sell academy players, it's 100% profit. So maybe some of these players need to go get experience. We did it with Saliba when we bought him. He went back to Saint Etienne. He played there for like a couple of, and for FFP's sake, these guys can go. They can go make us some money and get experience, and then we can come back and get them. You put a clause in their contract that says, hey, you offer them back to us first if you want to sell them if you're leaving that club. If it's not a loan, if it's a sell deal, put a clause in it. First offer needs to come back to Arsenal. And at that time, we never know. There might be another great player who's come out of the woodworks in Europe somewhere who we've bought and is now playing in that position. So, remember, what's this kid's name again? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's how bad it is now. At one time, we called him the best player in Arsenal. It starts with a P. This young kid that was really, really good. And he ended up not going anywhere. They're like, oh, this is the next Jack Wilshere, And this is why I'm careful with like the whole narrative of, oh, well, we have good academy kids. Yes, we do. But do they all have to make the team? No. I just want an effective team that can play good looking football and get me 3 points every game. That's what I want. Exactly. We've got players that can let them just go. Yeah, Charlie Patino. That's the boy I was trying to think about. Thank you, Fido. It's Charlie Patino. And Charlie Patino there was big talk about him, but where is he today? And I think Max Darman can be top. This is why you have to be careful with academy players. Miles Lewis Skelly came in. I believe this season, the beginning of the season, people are like, oh, Skelly might leave. Lewis Skelly might leave because, Lewis Skelly is going to leave because he's not getting game time. And then end of the season, oh, Lewis Skelly is the best midfielder. We should have played him in midfield. It's like we flip. Some of these players might not make the team. I like them. If Ethan doesn't make the team, I love Ethan, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I would be happy to let him go and make really, really good money on him for the kind of talent that he is. And that would be. I mean, we had another Josh Nichols, or what's his name again? There's a defender, an Arsenal defender today. I saw the here we go for him to move to Croatia. One of those young boys. He played in the preseason for us, and we brought him in some of the Carabao Cup games and all that as well. Young talent, good defender. But there's no space right now. We also, I remember that. We also have the twins that we brought from South America. I hear that they're special. They were at the stadium when we played Atletico Madrid. They had a boot seat. They actually showed them on the camera that the twins, and that's how important the club is taking them. So there's some young talents that were like, hey, we'll still eventually come in and make it through to the team. But you need a strong, experienced team to win this Premier League. The Premier League is hard to win. It's really, really hard to win. It's not something that you can just be like, oh yeah, I have talent, throw them in. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's a hard league to win. So yeah, man. Like I said, man, guys, thank you guys. Thank you. I'll do this again. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video so that it will push it on to other people. I appreciate your likes. Give me some thumbs up. Let's get the likes up, people. Come on. How many are we? Let me see how many people are even in here. 172. Let's get the likes up to like at least 100 now. Just 100 of you can at least be like click, 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 click. Yeah? Or you just don't like my intro again. Champ is here. Oh, sorry. But it says 169 on the screen here from my end. Well, I guess maybe sometimes YouTube just wants to make you feel good. It don't matter. Let's just get the likes up, man. So yeah, man. I think that some of these players are going to not make the team. It is what it is. I just want the best for my club. I just want the club to be able to make the right decisions. I'm not sentimental about players. I'm telling you this. If I need to get rid of players to get better players so that the club will win, I will do it. There's no sentiment for me. I love my players. I love the guys we have. I will defend them whenever they're Arsenal players and they're wearing the Arsenal colors and anybody says nonsense about them or tries to bring up a lie or tries to make up a story just to make themselves feel good. I'll defend my boys. I'll defend my people, right? But if there's a better player out there than you and I can bring that person in and you have to leave, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for the raid from Hussam. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm at 491 subscribers now. If you can get me to 500, I'll appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, if you have any more questions, throw them in the chat. I'll come back and look at the chat later on, and I'll do a bunch more lives. Whenever I do it, I'll let you guys know. Turn on your notification as well, so whenever I go live, you'll know that I'm going live. And I tend to just do a let's talk about it. Like I'm not really going to be doing like transfer news unless it's a major thing that everybody's talking about or something that I found out. But yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Oh yeah, the likes. Let's get the likes up, people. Let's get the likes up. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.